All right, welcome. Today we're diving straight into digital capabilities for product management. We're going to break down how tech is completely shaking up the way we build and launch products. So, to really get why this is so important, we have to start with a story. It's a classic tale of a multi-million-dollar mistake. A story about having a truly brilliant idea at the absolute worst possible time.
Okay, picture this. It's 2004. The Apple Watch isn't even a glimmer in anyone's eye yet, and Microsoft launches the Spot Watch. This thing delivered news, weather, messages, all right to your wrist. I mean, it was revolutionary. They were literally a decade ahead of the game.
But here's the crazy part. Even though it was this amazing piece of tech, a real breakthrough, the Spot Watch was a total flop, a complete market failure. So what on earth happened? How can you be that far ahead of everyone else and still end up losing the race? Well, it really boils down to a few huge missteps. First, the watch was on its own proprietary data network, so it couldn't talk to anything else. Big problem. It also came out just as the first smartphones were starting to pop up, which, were a way better way to get info. But the real killer, the most important point here, was this. Their market analysis was just slow and wrong. They had no real clue what customers actually wanted in that moment. And, man, that was one expensive lesson to learn. And that leads us right to the big question for anyone in product management today, right? In a world that moves this fast, how do you avoid making your own multi-million-dollar mistake? How do you make sure you're building the right product at the right time and not just another cool gadget that nobody's ready for? The answer, it turns out, is something called digital transformation. And don't let the buzzword scare you. All it really means is using today's technology to completely rethink how you do business. It's like rewiring the whole system to make it faster, smarter, and way more in touch with what's actually happening out there. And the very first thing you have to tackle is this giant old-school problem, the data silo. You know what I'm talking about. In the old days, data was trapped. Marketing had their numbers, engineering had theirs, sales had theirs, and none of those departments were talking to each other. That kind of isolation is a recipe for disaster. It leads to slow, bad decisions, exactly the kind that sank the Spot Watch. So this whole digital shift is really about moving from a before to an after. Before, data is locked up, and it takes months to figure anything out. After, information flows freely everywhere. And that's what gives you the power to do quick, collaborative analysis, so you get a snapshot of the market as it is right now, not what it was 6 months ago. And what's driving this change? Some seriously cool tech. You've got the Internet of Things, or IoT, letting us pull real-time data straight from products. You've got AI that can chew through that data in a split second to find patterns. And then you have cloud computing, which basically makes all this information available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Okay, that's great. We get it. Break down silos, use new tech. But how do you actually pull it off? Like, what's the playbook here? Well, the good news is we don't have to invent one. There's a really solid framework we can follow. This playbook comes from a guy named David Rogers. He's a top expert on this stuff, a professor at Columbia, and he's basically spent his entire career figuring out how companies can successfully make this transition. And he put it all together in his digital transformation playbook. And what's so great about this playbook is how simple it is. Rogers says you just need to focus on rethinking 5 key areas. That's it. 5 domains: your customers, your competition, how you innovate, how you create value, and the one that ties everything together, your data. And that is the end game. When you really master these 5 domains, you stop using data just to put out fires and fix old problems. Instead, you start using it to predict the future, to know what the market is going to want next before you've spent a single penny building it. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. You can't just go out and buy some fancy AI software or move everything to the cloud and expect miracles. That's not how it works. These transformations fail all the time. Why? Because technology, no matter how great, will never, ever fix a broken strategy. The best way to think about it is like this. Technology is the tool, right? It's the super-powered hammer and saw. It's fantastic for gathering data and spotting trends. But the strategy, that's the blueprint. That's the human leadership part that actually makes the tool useful. It's about knowing what questions to ask, building a team that actually works together, and getting the bosses on board to actually make things happen. So here's the bottom line. A successful transformation is all about the people stuff. You absolutely need a clear strategy. You have to have support from the top. The entire company has to be on the same page, working together. It's a total culture shift, not just a software update. And that brings us full circle, right back to the ultimate goal. When you get that mix right, the right tech, the right strategy, and the right culture, you're finally in a position to crack the code of product management. You're not guessing anymore. You're ready to build exactly what people want at the exact moment they want it.